Hi Randy, it's Corey Gant with Gant Property Inspections. I'm going to do a couple walk around or walk through videos for you, one on the outside, one on the inside, and talk a little bit about this house. I'm not finding any major issues. It actually seems like a pretty nice place. A lot of people, desirable neighborhood. Seems like a solid house with a good layout and some nice features really. What we'll do is I'm going to flip this around and we'll talk about the house. Just talk about a few things that you'll want to know about. All right, so let's flip this around. Here's the neighborhood. And then the house. Okay, so we're going to start at the top and work our way down and around. The roof is a asphalt shingle 3-tab roof, which aren't used as much anymore, but overall it's in pretty good shape. There's a couple, what it seems like a couple bundles of shingles that are wearing a little faster than the rest, and that's right up here in that area, kind of in the middle towards the top. So there's some pictures of that. There's still lots of life left on it, but you want to be aware there are some shingles that are failing a little faster. The trees do drop stuff on the roof, and right now there is a bit of debris on the roof and in the gutters that should be cleaned off. That it's really going to deteriorate the roof faster than you want. So we want to treat for moss every year and keep the leaves and branches off. With that tray right above it, really needs to be cleaned off a few times a year through the fall and winter for sure. Okay, coming down, siding is a smooth cedar siding, I believe, and overall it's in really good shape. Some of the paint is bubbling though, which is a little frustrating when you go to fix that because it kind of has to be scraped and then filled in. A little bubble there. There's a few of them on this south-facing wall, and here you can see where probably there's been issues in the past where they've scraped them, and so paint has some physical cosmetic defects, but overall it seems to work. Gas meters right here. Just looking at things before I go on around the house. Gas meters here, and the heat pump exterior unit for the living room is right here. That's been keeping the house nice and cool. Talk about that more when you go in. There's 2 chimneys, 2 brick chimneys, and really appear to be in good condition. The other one does have a crack around the top, which there's pictures, and that's where the furnace vents out, is through that. There's a sewer line clean out here, which is nice. Most older houses don't have that, so that's probably been updated at some point. And crawl space, let's go ahead and talk about that since I have it open still. Just came out of there a few minutes ago. I did crawl around in there, and overall it seems okay. Vapor barrier looks okay. One post kind of over in this corner has been replaced recently. It looks good. What else? Insulation is pulled down in a couple areas, maybe 3 or 4 areas where it's sagging, and so it doesn't do a whole lot of good. And a little bit of evidence of some animals have been in there, but not terrible. They haven't done a lot of damage, just some insulation's pulled down a little bit. The piping, so plumbing, the supply lines are still galvanized, and then also the drain lines are galvanized and cast iron for the most part. There's some sections that have been replaced with ABS, but most of it is still galvanized. The drain line coming from the laundry does have some rust on it. It looks like it might even leak a little bit when being used. Very small amount, but there's pictures in there where you can see the bottom of the pipe is rusted. So there's that. What else? That's about it, yeah. Insulation, framing looks okay from what we can see. Of course, insulation covers a lot of stuff. And yeah, that's about it. Well, there's underneath the laundry there is some kind of old school type of support there. There's pictures in the report. The bottom of those posts does have some rot because it's where it touches the ground, And in the wintertime, there probably is some moisture underneath the vapor barrier. In fact, the far end, you can see where sometime in the past, there's been puddling on top of the vapor barrier because a lot does slope down, of course. So that's just something to know about, and to check in the wintertime to see how much water's down there. But overall, that shouldn't be causing too much trouble, but still should be checked during the rainy season. Can't really tell at this point. Okay, so talk about foundation since I'm looking right at it. There are a few cracks in the foundation. In my mind, that's just kind of typical. Like there's a crack behind the hose. And in South Eugene, all across South Eugene, there's a lot of clay soils. And so there is a lot of ground movement. The clay soils expand and contract, and that does cause some cracking in it. And then we notice inside the house, there's some settling cracking as well. None of it seems to be extreme, but you do need to know about it. But on the same note, all across South Eugene, it's like that. Not a whole lot you can do about it with these older homes. And without it causing any trouble, besides a few cracks, then most people live with it. Power comes in overhead. It does go through this apple tree. I'll flip around and show you. Upper wire there goes through one of the branches in the apple tree. And with apples on it, it's kind of hanging on it. So tree branch can be trimmed. There's a lot of apples on the tree. Oh, we got locked in. Let's go back around. So looking at this tree, it does overhang the house quite a bit. Just thought of something else as I looked up. The ventilation in the attic is not, I would say, not sufficient. There's gable end vents and a few roof vents, and really no soffit vents. So we want soffit vents to bring in air to go up and over through the attic, and that dries it out during the wintertime or keeps it drier, and then it helps it cool off in the summertime. So if it was me, I recommend looking into having some more vents added, both soffit and possibly roof vents too. There's actually an equation that the roofing companies have using the square footage to say how many vents both soffits and roof vents should have. One more thing before we go in. Landscaping. It does slope to the house, and so in a lot of rain or when I'm in a really wet season, it is possible that moisture does hit the foundation and even end up in the crawl space. One suggestion I would have if I was in charge of doing the landscaping is maybe possibly getting rid of all the vegetation in front of the house, having a flat area here that's actually a walkway to go around the house, and then doing some nice landscaping in the yard here, because you have these great big windows to look out on. I would want some nice landscaping to look out to. So that's one thought there. So any bushes up against the house, I recommend trimming way back or removing, because it traps moisture and encourages bugs to go back and forth, and makes it harder to clean and paint the house. All right, with that, we are going to go inside. So I'm going to cut this off and start a new video.